Could this be the year that Leo will finally get the elusive Oscar? Hi, I'm Brian Wilder and welcome to Cinema Journal, and this is my first impression of Alejandro's Gonzales Inarritu's new film, The Revenant. Inspired by the true story of the legendary mountain man Hugh Glass, Leonardo DiCaprio plays as said man who was left for dead after a vicious bear attack. After his half-Indian son was killed by fellow party member John Fitzgerald and was half-buried, Glass uses his skills and experience as a man of the mountain to survive the grueling winter days in the Rockies, to reach civilization, and to enact his vengeance against the man who has taken everything from him. Fresh off his Oscar win from Birdman last year, Inarritu teamed up once again with cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki, the Oscar-winning genius who not only worked on Birdman but also on Gravity, having won Oscars for both of them. What they accomplish here is nothing short of miraculous, having many shots that go on for minutes on end without a cut in between, especially during action sequences, and having to rely solely on natural lighting, basically the sun, in order to give a natural and realistic feel to the film. Shot on location away from civilization for 9 months, they want to bring back the forgotten world of the 1820s where nature is the law. With its mountainous settings, dense forests, and wintry scenes, it reminded me of Lawrence of Arabia, where the desert is a character of itself in that film, just as much of how the natural settings in this one gives it its own identity with its beauty and danger. Also joining them is DiCaprio as Hugh Glass, who truly immersed himself into his role, having him be part of the landscape as a way to define his character that made him truly believe that I am watching Hugh Glass himself. He hardly has any dialogue for the majority of the film, in part because of the injuries he sustained from a horrific bear attack, which, by the way, is one of the most horrific scenes I have ever seen in a movie. In a way, I can't tell how much of it is CGI, but the way that the whole scene was mostly in one continuous take, and there were parts where the bear did look real, and it puts you right in the middle of the action as the bear tore and ripped Glass up with his claws and fangs, and the sound of bones being crushed just heightens the reality of it. It's really something to behold. After that, the party did try to carry him back, but because of his severe injuries and the trek they had to go through, they left Glass with 2 of the men and his son to wait for help to come back. But instead, he was left for dead by the one and only man of the group who did not like him in the beginning, John Fitzgerald, played by Tom Hardy. Honestly, I don't know what to think of him except that half the time I had a hard time understanding what the hell he's saying. It's kinda like Marlon Brando in The Godfather, where I needed subtitles for that one character because of the way he talks. That just sounds like mumbling to me. So, because of that, I don't really have much of an opinion of him just yet. With that being said, just watching Glass and what he has to go through in order to survive, they really bring home in how harsh and unforgiving the wilderness is. Not only did he brave the elements, but he also survived Indian attacks and has to find any kind of food that he could get his hands on, including raw bison meat. They really went out of their way to capture the essence of the time period. There were shots that are almost meditative with its natural beauty that is in contrast to the brutality of that same world, like 2 sides of the same coin. There does seem to be a theme that involves some form of spiritualism that is part of the narrative and of Glass's character, but it's vague enough that it will leave the audience to decipher what it means to the entire film. I'm not really so sure what it is all about for myself, but it did left me a little intrigued by it, just enough to make me want to see it again, which that is a huge plus for any film that will give it a chance for it to become something more to me. This film is beautifully shot and the story is very interesting. I didn't feel bored throughout its 2.5-hour runtime, as it kept me intrigued throughout with its beautiful scenery and the wonderful performance by Leonardo DiCaprio. He is incredible as he embodies the role and just lets himself be part of the environment in which he absolutely sells it. There may not be much in terms of character development, but him making me believe that this is Hugh Glass I'm watching gets high points from me. Already he has been nominated for many awards, so an Oscar nomination seemed inevitable, but for a win, I like to wait and see when that time comes. For months I have been anticipating for this film, being hyped up for it, and thankfully I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed it and I hope to catch it one more time before it leaves the theater.